Welcome, everybody, to the LA Times Lakers blog. We're in for another edition of Lakers Roundtable. We're going to be talking about the Lakers' newest acquisition in Steve Blake. They officially signed and reached an agreement today, and helping us sort out what he could bring to the team. We're going to talk with the Times Clippers beat writer, Lisa Dillman. And Lisa, I know you've been obviously busy this past week with Vinny Del Negro just being named the head coach, and the Clippers trying to court LeBron James, and summer league approaching. So I really appreciate your time here.
Well, thanks. Anything for you, Mark. You're one of my Twitter followers, and I try to take care of my followers here.
Well, before we get into the Steve Blake sign, what that could mean to the Lakers, everyone's talking about LeBron James and the decision tonight. Do you think the Clippers have a chance?
Well, it's funny when they held a press availability yesterday for Vinny Del Negro, and a couple times in the course of talking with Clipper front office folks and other people associated with the organization, a couple people lapsed into past tense and saying, well, we had to give it our best shot, and we went there and gave it our best shot, and I think to pretend otherwise that they're really in the thick of things would be, delusionary. It's sort of
right.
I think if people are realistic that hey, if you get a chance to make a pitch to LeBron James and his management team and to spend some a decent amount of time with them in the same room, it may not pay off now, but say he signs a shorter deal, like 3 years, he could. I shudder to say this all could be happening in 3 years from now, but. God forbid.
The entire nation will be watching to see what happens, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I have friends in other countries, and it's even filtered. A friend from Canada said, it's filtered appearance taking over our airwaves too. So it's I've never seen anything quite like it.
Well, obviously some other things have been going on in free agency. Maybe not as intense as everything regarding LeBron James, but it was just official. The Lakers announced that they did sign Steve Blake today, and the Times reported that was going to be a 4-year deal worth $62 million. You covered him after Portland traded him to the Clippers. What did he bring to the Clippers in terms of just how he was in the locker room and what he provided on the court?
Well, he's one of those guys that they just can't say enough good things about, and sometimes it's just rhetoric, but there was actually some meaning behind the words. Just a really good team guy. The guys liked him from everybody liked him. You hear phrases like character and leadership, and the other thing is they just really are complimentary with basketball IQ. Some folks I've talked to over there just raved about him, and I think he caught their eye. I mean, he's been around forever. I'm looking at the long list of places he's been seemingly everywhere except for the Lakers. He had a game against them in February. Was it February? No, maybe it was February '09, where he had 14 assists against them in just the first quarter. And guys love to play with somebody who thinks pass first. That person is going to be very popular, no matter who you are. And no wonder Kobe loves this guy. No wonder.
Of course.
And the other phrase that I talked to some of the folks about him, they did say just versatility. And that's pretty evident, and the Laker fans know that too. And the other thing is, one of my inside guys said that they think this is an upgrade over Fish at both ends of the floor. And
wow!
I thought that was very high praise, and was sort of surprised when I heard that.
Well, Lisa, you kind of have a unique perspective because you obviously cover the Clippers, but you also helped the Times with the playoff coverage, and obviously with just helping out with the Lakers during their run to the championship. Seeing how they play in the playoffs and knowing their personnel, how do you see Steve fits into this lineup here?
I think he fits in well. I mean, I think it's probably going to even be better. He's a better fit for the Lakers than for the Clippers. I think he won't have any problems with the system. And I think he's one of those guys. You perform according to expectations, and the expectations weren't necessarily ordinarily high for him. Coming to the Clippers at the end of a season where they're already far out of contention, everybody's sort of playing out the string. But he's a good supplementary guy in the most complimentary sense So, I mean, teams like the Lakers need that. They need that, and I think it's I think Mitch did a great job considering all the crazy money that's being thrown around, and to move quickly and decisively to get this guy in the fold was very big.
Well, it seems like from just the Twitter activity, Steve's pretty busy. He just had a Twitter account. His wife's talking about looking for places to move. What did he's I guess a little familiar with the area. He knows the gym. He was in L.A. How did he feel comfort-wise in terms of just coming out to L.A. and getting used to that scene?
Well, he wasn't here very long. He wasn't here very long at all. In fact, they acquired him, the Marcus Camby deal. When I was at the Olympics, so I wasn't actually even around, and I would be lying if I said I had a long history with him because it was more like 15 minutes. But it's a comfortable situation. I mean, we spend time in the South Bay, and the Clippers have they have a great training facility, 10 minutes from the airport, and I believe I'm guessing he must have stayed over there, or rented a place in that little area over in Playa Vista. I'm not completely sure. But it's a very compact little slice of LA, and it's not too overwhelming, and you can, find a very nice fit. His wife, I think his wife is the one who got him into Twitter, and she's very, very active on the social networking front. I started following her, and somebody tweeted that they mentioned her number of followers, and I said, she'll probably have more than any of us by the end of the day, and somebody.
Right.
Had a low figure on her followers, and she tweeted me back. She said, "Well, no, it's actually blah blah blah." So, she's watching us. She's watching us, so we better be careful. And Steve apparently, I think he's tweeting poolside in Vegas. Maybe I don't know. I saw something.
Yeah, that's
earlier.
what he's saying.
Pardon?
I think that's what he was saying. Yeah, he's in Vegas right now.
So that's the way of our life. We're lots of helpful information and a lot of information that we don't necessarily need to know. But I kind of feel good knowing at least somebody's enjoying themselves, unlike the rest of us that are sort of held hostage in our homes, waiting for this LeBron show to come on.
Well, Lisa, I know that you obviously have a lot to get back to, not just that, but just following up on what the Clippers are doing the rest of this free agency. So I'll let you get back to it, but thanks again for all your time and perspective.
And there might even be something by the end of the day. I don't want to make any promises, but we might have a little some more news. And the team likes to make news, and well, hopefully it'll happen before LeBron.
All right, well, if there's any news with that, be sure to follow Lisa Dillman on Twitter at RealLisa. And she'll be able to fill you in there.
Thanks, Mark.
All righty, thanks a lot.
Okay, bye-bye.